Now, it's been an intense day in Hong Kong where thousands of protesters have been marching through the city center. They're speaking out against China's plans to pass a new security law on the territory that would allow China to have its own law enforcement agencies in Hong Kong that could potentially prevent, stop, and punish those who speak out against mainland China. Locals are concerned that their freedoms will be compromised, and 200 senior politicians from around the world have issued a joint statement criticizing the plan. But police on the ground aren't listening and have responded by firing tear gas and water cannons at the protesters. Joining us now on Skype is Isabella Steger, the Deputy Asia Bureau Chief for Court. So first of all, let's break down what this law would actually mean for Hong Kong. What would it look like?
There's a lot that we actually don't know about it, which is why people are very scared. But what we do know is already actually quite terrifying to a lot of people, in that this is obviously unprecedented for Hong Kong. It sort of spells a breakdown of the firewall between, the Chinese legal and law enforcement system and the Hong Kong system. And as we know, there's a lot of concern around the mainland Chinese system in terms of sort of how suspects are treated in the criminal justice process, where they end up when they are taken to mainland China. Are people supposed to be taken from Hong Kong to mainland China, for example, if they're suspected of crimes such as secession or foreign interference, or something that are separatism, that are like crimes that China takes very seriously? But, how do you define these crimes? It's just like a lot of nitty-gritty that hasn't been well defined by this law yet.
So why does Beijing want to bring this law into place?
It wants to put an end to the protests, is the short answer. The protests obviously broke out first in June a year ago. And so now, after this coronavirus pandemic is sort of over now in Hong Kong, they've come back with a vengeance. Today, for example, there were mass protests. And China thinks that if it implements this law, then it sort of puts an end to this problem, which isn't really true, because the sentiment, the anger is still very much there. But people may be cowed from going out in the street, for example. But I think Beijing's trying to send a message that, if there's any sort of dissent, you will not tolerate it, in the same way that they don't tolerate it in mainland China.